But for Azimio, he left it hanging. All right? And you can ask yourself, why? We've never tried to understand why. So the effect was his running mate, my learned sister, Mother Karua, decided, no, I'm not in this anymore. So her and the NARC Kenya party pulled out, gave notice under the agreement constituting the coalition of Azimio. You're supposed to give 90 days notice. She gave notice of intention to pull out, and she pulled out.
Yes.
And more recently, Democratic Action Party of Kenya of Eugene Wamalwa also gave notice to pull out.
Okay.
So then that leaves Wiper, Jubilee, KANU, and a host of some other smaller parties.
Are you giving
so
notice
really,
to pull out?
Therefore, Azimio is dysfunctional.
Are you giving notice to pull out?
We don't want to necessarily do that. We are consulting. But clearly, we can't go into the next election with Azimio.
Consulting or fence sitting?
Not fence sitting. We are actively consulting. We are reorganizing. We are reorganizing, but we are all in agreement. Azimio, as presently constituted, as at this time, is spent. Therefore, either we come up with a new coalition, which is what we are trying to do, or perhaps with concurrence of people, and I don't see much in that regard, people saying, let's rebrand Azimio. I don't think Azimio is rebrandable. Therefore, we have to come up with a new coalition.
And you don't see Azimio going to 2027, so in effect what you're saying, Wiper as well, is really not going to be in Azimio?
No, I'm not saying that. Because as of now, we have not taken that decision. And I lead a political movement which is very consultative, very consultative. But everybody seems to be in agreement that Azimio is actually spent. Because under the terms, I mean, if you look at the coalition agreement of that coalition, the party leader is actually even a political party, which has not complied with the provisions under the Political Parties Act. The members of Azimio are two. I think now one, Raila Odinga and Mother Karua. Okay? Okay. Now, if it's a political party, which is also a coalition. Now, the council chair is former President Uhuru Kenyatta. The council has not met. The leadership of the party has not met. In fact, we are fortunate that we have not received a letter from the registrar of political parties saying this party is deregistered.
Yes.
It's as bad as that.
People's loyal opposition, then, who are you? What's your destination? Where do you stand?
You see, in Parliament, we still have, amazingly, a situation where we have the majority party and the minority party. At the level of National Assembly, we have, of course, the leadership of Ruto's party. And then we have, in the National Assembly, Mheshimiwa Junet Mohammed, who is himself the Secretary General of Azimio. He never opens his mouth to talk about Azimio. And yet, by virtue of being from Azimio coalition, he is the minority leader, deputized by Robert Mbui of Wiper Democratic Movement. And I don't even know when the rest of them, the two of them will have met and talked about Azimio. Yet they are there, effectively, talk about Azimio leadership. The same in the Senate. We have Stuart Mazayo, the senator for Kilifi, who is a minority leader, and we have a senator from Kitui, Enoch Wambua, being the deputy. And again, the same story. Azimio just by name. So we have to be realistic. We can't go to the future with a limping organization. So we have to do something about it, for sure.
A limping organization or a plan B for Raila if things don't go his way with the Africa Union chairmanship elections this month?
I don't see how Raila Odinga will lose the chairmanship and come back and say he wants to lead Azimio. I'll be amazed, personally. Oh, I would really, truly be amazed. That would be not the Raila Odinga I know, because he must also have a reality check. But for now, the option is he goes. He goes. If he wins, beautiful for him, the country, and the continent. If he loses, I think he should simply retire.
But it seems there's a lot of support from either side, opposition or government, that Raila takes it not out of the goodness of the hearts of the people backing this up, but to get him out of the way.
Maybe that was William Ruto's intention. I keep on hearing that. Because William Ruto mistakenly believes with Raila Odinga out of the scene, then he can cultivate Raila Odinga's constituency. He thinks that loyalty is transferable. Political loyalty is not transferable. For example, I think that when the chips, when shove comes to push, and I visit Luo Nyanza, having supported Raila Odinga a record 3 times, I think if Ruto gets some of the votes, I must get the majority. So he's making that mistake, fundamental mistake. And I think Raila Odinga recently at a funeral said, wait a minute, I'm my own person. Nobody is pretending he's giving this thing to me. So there's a lot of lack of clarity. But I think the intention of William Ruto was you think that he can get Raila out of the political scene in Kenya, then he will have a second term. Now, I can tell you that it cannot work that way. I started by telling you that less than 20% of Kenyans approve of this leadership.